All right. Hi, I'm Dante.
And I'm Tommy.
And you're listening to Twigging Onto Twig, a podcast where we talk about Wildbow's most sterile web serial, Twig.
In today's episode, we're talking about 4.11 and 4.12, finally bringing a close mostly to this arc.
Yes, the arc is called Stitch in Time, in case you had forgotten, or in case any of our listeners had forgotten.
I had forgotten.
It comes up. There's a name drop in this chapter. Oh, I want to say before we go too far, I do have some very noisy and belligerent kittens in the background. So
when you say belligerent, do you just mean?
I mean they're play fighting.
Okay, but they are clobbering each other.
Yes.
Are they more so than your normal fosters?
Yes, because they're younger than our normal fosters.
I see.
This is one of the younger batches we've had, so they spend every waking moment trying to whack each other on the snout.
Gotcha. Well, I will forgive them for it, seeing as they're so young.
That's very gracious of you. So the audiobook descriptions for these chapters. Chapter 4.11. You know what there hasn't been enough of in this arc lately? Politics. Get yourself ready for some serious politics in this chapter. Having come so far, will Sai and the Lambs be foiled again by sheer bureaucracy? Have a listen and find out.
4.12. Time to wrap up our introduction to Genevieve Frey. Certainly been an exciting time here in Kensford, even if it hasn't gone especially well for Sai and his pals. With a little luck, though, the Lambs will be able to squeeze out some small victory from this situation here at the bitter end. Yeah. I mean, I think that's an accurate descriptor, though don't necessarily agree that they get any small victories, really. Sai gets his badge back.
Yeah, that's a major victory.
Yeah.
So let's talk about general thoughts.
Yeah. So before I got into this, because it had been some time, I reread Stitch in Time, and I reread all of Twig, but mostly this arc.
Sure, that's probably wise. I didn't, so
yeah, to get myself back.
I'll let you keep me straight on the facts.
Oh, that's a bad idea. But the thing I most wanted to talk about is that we have repeatedly talked how each arc is kind of episodic, dealing with its own situation, and then they move on and they sort of play into each other. And I get very much, it's explicit in this arc, but I also get the same kind of feeling I got out of it at the end of the Mauer arc, which is, we're not done with you. Like I said, Genevieve Frey, it's explicit. Whereas Mauer, in theory, I guess, could fade into the background and never show up again and just be a formative event for Sai. But I feel like they're going to be recurring antagonists.
Yeah.
I'll say.
And in a different way, we had the same thing happen with Percy as well.
Yeah, but I don't get the vibe that Percy is going to be a presence narratively beyond the, he's still around in theory, but I think Percy doesn't have his own agency in the way that Mauer and Genevieve Frey clearly do. They are the rogues gallery for the superheroes that are the Lambs. Whereas I don't think Percy is that.
Yeah, maybe if Mary were our POV character, but
maybe. But I feel like if Percy shows up again, it's going to be as a catalyst for something to do with Mary, rather than as an architect of his own plan. And I kind of also wanted to talk about how both Genevieve Frey and Mauer have similar goals, though attacking it from very different approaches. They both, in theory, want to take down the Academy, bring the Academy down, say it's not a system that works anymore. But they are approaching it very differently. Mauer they are both riling up the people to strike back at the academy, but Mauer is doing it through rhetoric, whereas Genevieve is using the tools of the academy against itself. And I
Right.
think that's interesting, especially, you look at the lambs themselves, who are tools of the academy, but like kind of, obviously we don't really see any of the other experiments all that much, but it feels like the lambs have a bit more agency than the others that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, I guess, a parallel there.
Yeah, for sure. I guess we won't know till we see it, but
yeah. But I did think it was striking how both Mauer and Genevieve Frey end up with riots.
yep, that's true. And they both essentially have that's what they're aiming for, right? They're trying to get the people
to revolt.
Yeah.
Do you have any general thoughts on these two chapters?
No, I don't think so. I think you summarized that well, and yeah, I'm excited to see. So go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead. No, I just had a thought.
Out with it.
Well, I didn't think of it until just now, so I don't have any notes written down. But I think it's interesting how these two, I mean, obviously it's maybe framed by the fact that we are doing these two chapters at a time. But the start of this first chapter had Sai and the lambs kind of being treated dismissively by an older, quote unquote, academy figure, the headmaster.
Right.
And then basically ends with Hale not even talking to them, really, ignoring them and dismissing them. And I just thought it was an interesting bracketing of, like, act that the lambs lost, essentially. And like their morale and cohesion is clearly doing really badly at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was interesting that it was like I said, bracketed on two sides by these academic authority figures.
Yeah, that's a great observation. I hadn't noticed that, but yeah. And like, even though Hale and Foss are both on opposite sides of each other, they're both taking a pretty similar attitude towards the lambs.
And they basically are institutional power.
Yes.
Yeah, different facets of it, but they're essentially secure where they are and can afford to look down or ignore those quote unquote beneath them.
Yes. And they're more than happy to do so.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Shall we?
Yeah, sure.
Go through the chapter summaries.
So, previously on Twig, the lambs, well, after having visited Frey's lab in the not the academy, the school, they take Wendy with them and try to interrogate her to find out what she is up to. Wendy tells them that Frey is planning to, quote, help the academy, but was not much help beyond that. Sylvester nevertheless figured out the plan. Frey has poisoned the water supply.
In Stitch in Time 4.11, the lambs talk to the headmaster of Dame Sicily, Foss, to warn him of the danger. But the headmaster appears not to believe them. But Sai realizes that the headmaster is in on Frey's plan, and he talks his way out of the meeting, but not before making the headmaster return his badge. Sai tells the lambs that he has figured out what Frey has put in the water supply, and it is the Academy's standard methods of control: sterility for the population, and the chemical leash to keep them in place. And the lambs see Warren in the crowd and go up to him and agree to negotiate for Wendy.
Warren brings the lambs in 4.12 to where Frey is, and they have their final initial confrontation, which is the denouement between Frey and the lambs. They reach a compromise where the lambs will return Wendy to Frey's group. In return, Frey will take 6 months before attacking or unleashing anything new. Later, while the lambs are on their way to Radom, they realize that Frey has had collaborators since some of the towns affected by the sterility outbreak had not been visited. The lambs arrive at Radom and head to their respective appointments. Sai accompanies Jamie to his. And the chapter ends with Sai looking out, not looking at Jamie, but looking out at the burning city.
It's a great place to end an arc.
For sure. For sure. I mean, I'm curious to see where Enemy ends up
Mm-hmm.
because, or what we're seeing with Enemy, because there hasn't been much of a pattern, I don't think, in that we got two conclusions to the Enemy, but then one is setting up the next antagonist. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interludes have never been particularly
Yeah.
predictable. So, yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. In terms of this discussion of the plot, I think there's kind of two perspectives we can take on
Sure.
it. I wrote them down as the arc and the plan, but what it really I think is the Lamb's perspective and Frey's perspective, because this arc has been the Lambs getting their mission, trying to track down Genevieve, and
Right.
this wraps that up. Whereas Genevieve's plan has been her story the whole time, right from the get-go. So I was thinking if we start with the Lamb's perspective, like this was really a detective story, and as you said, this was the denouement of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I wanted to note just that when Warren brings them to see Frey, she's a little surprised to see them, as if this was something that was not expected in her. Every other encounter has been planned for and accounted for, and this one, she's not on the back foot, but she hadn't anticipated it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
But this is also the discussion we have where the facts are all out in the open.
Yeah.
Like she's no longer hiding from them. Like they know what she's doing, they know why she's doing it, and they can confront her with all the cards on the table, essentially.
Yep. This is the I don't know if you've read Watchmen or seen it. The whole.
I have read it. It was a while ago though, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying the whole, like, oh, do you think I'd be monologuing if there was any chance you could stop me? I already did it 30 minutes ago.
Yes. Yeah, that's essentially Frey has been that this whole time.
Yeah.
But I did like, we've mentioned already, and we'll probably mention again, the repeated insistence of, until we meet again, this is just the first of many meetings. So what do you think of, like, wrapping this up with the beginning?
What do you mean?
Well, I suppose you already mentioned it a little bit, but, like, in each, like, you mentioned it comparing it to Mauer.
Sure.
But, like, in each arc we've had, it's been, like, here's the bad guy, we go out, we defuse the situation. Next mission, we go out, we defuse the situation. Even though Mauer's still on the table, they diffused that situation, and that was done.
And this
Whereas
one,
in this one, like, even though they've gotten to the end, there is no end. Like, they solved the mystery, but they didn't stop it. And instead of saying, all right, that's that mission taken care of, it's just this repeated, like, this is the beginning. This is this is the
I'll
first.
be back.
Yeah. So
haven't seen the last of me.
What do you think of this arc ending this way, unlike all the other arcs we've seen so far?
I think it's interesting because I think we're moving away. Well, Wildbow says we've mentioned this multiple times over the course of this, but mentioned that that for Twig especially, he played a lot with the arc structure. So I've been kind of thinking of this as I see them brawling in the back.
The kittens,
yeah. We've been thinking of this as like individual episodic short novels or novellas or whatever. But maybe it's more fair to think of them as like TV show episodes, and we've just hit the first two-parter. Back in the day when TV shows were episodic, and every so often you had one that lasted. I don't know necessarily, but I think it'll be fun to read on and see where we're going, what we're accomplishing with this. Because like you said, it is interesting that this arc, while this arc is, the main events of this arc are over, what this arc was setting up is absolutely not, in a more explicit way than the previous ones.
Yeah. So I think this heralds changes in the immediate future.
For sure.
I also thought that it was interesting, the compromise at the end. As I
Yeah.
said, this is the title drop. A
Yep.
stitch in exchange for time. They've agreed that Frey will get the stitch back, will get Wendy back, and in exchange, Frey will stand down for 6 months. Do you think Frey is going to honor that? Do you think she'll actually stand down for 6 months? Because I really can't see her doing that.
I mean, the phrasing of the compromise allows her to essentially set everything up for when that 6 months elapses. You know, she can work, she can do stuff. She just can't fire the gun, say. She can
Right.
load it, she can aim it, she can do everything to prepare it. At least as I understood what I read.
Mm-hmm. But, like, what's stopping her from firing the gun anyway?
The fact that if she does, like, the next time there can't be a compromise if she breaks it, I think she still wants to get the lambs on board.
Okay.
And breaking the compromise makes it less likely that they're going to bother to have conversations with her in the future.
That's true.
Like, and I don't think losing 6 months does much to actually slow her down.
Mm-hmm. I did think it was interesting that Sai mentions again that Frey was sort of needling them with information. Like, he mentioned that before when he figured out that she poisoned the water supply, that she had essentially told him so.
Yeah.
By meeting him by the water and pointing out the sick eel creature.
Yep.
And again here, Sai points out that Genevieve has been doing the same thing again with the pills and stealing the pills and all that. Genevieve's really been playing with them, but then at the same time, the way she tries to get them on board, Sai says that almost makes me believe that you're not good at manipulating us.
Yeah, but I don't think Sai. I don't know. I definitely noticed that line also, and I am not certain what to make of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I feel like, on the one hand, it seems like Genevieve has been like sort of leading the lambs to this moment of this chapter, but at the same time, like, she still manages to succeed without it. She isn't successful in getting the lambs on board, which is, if that's why she was trying to do, she certainly didn't succeed there.
No, but I think that is secondary to her actual plans. You know, that's an ancillary goal, is to get the lambs
Just
on board,
like a
that is
bonus.
independent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like something she'll work towards and with over the course of, you know, every encounter she has, trying to bring them on board in theory. But, like, that won't be her actual goal in the moment beyond, like, would be nice to have.
Yes. Yeah. But that fails, and they all give their reasons for not wanting to go with her.
Various levels of truthfulness.
Well, I mean, with Sai around, what can you expect, right?
Yeah. Well, Gordon's the one who's not super honest.
I feel like he was more honest than Sai gave him credit for. But I think we'll get more into that later.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's all I had for, like, the lamb side of the arc.
Sure.
Did you have anything else on that?
Not really. Just I wanted to note that the compromise was also one between Genevieve, Frey, and Warren, right? It wasn't just Genevieve and the lambs. It was Genevieve argue or having a negotiation with Warren about whether he would leave or not.
I remember that the lambs floated that as an option. Like,
Well,
we'll give you Wendy in exchange for Warren leaving you.
No, let me go
Warren
back.
said, no, not happening.
Let me go back and find it. Sorry. Oh, I think you're right. Yep, never mind. Ignore that.
Okay, that's fine.
I misread.
Yeah, so there was that thought that Warren might leave, but Warren was like, that's not happening, so.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll see more of him later on.
Yeah. In terms of Genevieve's side of things, and her plan. The thing that really stood out to me is, like, we've talked a lot about how reading Boyle made us a lot more sympathetic with Genevieve than we might otherwise have been.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like this chapter and what she's doing here turned that around, and I no longer see her as a...
Yeah, I kind of agree. She's an accelerationist, right?
Mhm.
Like, she's exposing the problems of the system and, like, making it worse and worse so that people have no choice but to tear it down.
Yeah.
She is, I mean, in a fairly topical thing, she is Luthen from Andor, in a way.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen the latest season of that yet.
Oh, okay. Still.
But yes, I know what you mean.
Like, yeah, he definitely not someone who sees herself as doing the bad things that need to be done so that the greater evil can be defeated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she would still argue that it's like, yeah, this was not a great thing to have done, but the
But is it
overall
necessary
cost,
in the long run?
yeah, it's necessary in the long run, and the overall cost of the society on, like, the people long term is worse. So
Mm-hmm.
this
It
suffering is
makes
worth it.
visible what the Academy is doing, was going to do anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, I feel like I no longer see her as, like, a good guy on the other side.
No, yeah, but on the, like I said, similarly on the same side as the Academy, that at all.
No.
No.
But it's like the Academy are clearly not good. They're the protagonist side, but the Academy is clearly the big bad. Maybe not of the story, but certainly of the world building.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lambs, I think, are good.
Yeah, I think so.
And so Genevieve's position, I guess, or side of, like, the Academy is bad and needs to fall, like, that's good, but Genevieve herself seems to not be good in the same way that the Lambs are good, despite being on the Academy's side.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what is good, right?
I mean, that's true.
But I know what you're
trying
like
to this.
Yeah. But I get what you're trying to say.
I think I feel good rooting for them is close enough to good for this purpose.
I'll take that. I'll accept that.
I do think it's interesting that there's still more to Genevieve's plan that we don't know about.
Yeah, clearly this is we got to see the opening salvo, but we don't know what it really is leading to, and what else she has done.
Especially the fact that some villages or towns didn't get the water supply treatment. And
ones that she visited.
What does that mean? Is there, like, a larger strategy to who gets it and who doesn't?
Is there a second phase coming in that those people are infected with that has not triggered yet?
But I do think that the conclusion I think Mary comes to is the right one, that this is essentially pushing for war.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter who gets the, like, maybe it does, I don't know. But, like, to a large extent, it doesn't matter. Like, oh, you get the chemical, you don't get the chemical, this, where it's not a complex play of, like the higher forces versus the higher forces. No, it's like, push the people to rebel and then have outright war.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately it won't matter, like, which academies are fighting each other.
No, but I think the fact that some of the people didn't get hit by this versus some did matters, because we know she was there doing something anyway.
And it occurs to me, just as I was saying that also, even in the context of her whole plan being to get the people rising up against the academies, turning the academies on each other would be a pretty effective way to sabotage them.
Which is kind of what they were arguing with Headmaster Foss. That the different academies don't really matter. Whoever's targeting who does not matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter so long as they're targeting each other.
Exactly.
The only other note I had was just, like, the planet, like the Academy control plan itself, which obviously is super evil.
I mean,
It does.
controlling reproduction and like mass sterility is one of the tools of genocide and control throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's what oppressive societies do to people like under their control. Is control, one of the methods of control is to determine who gets to reproduce and who doesn't.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me of like that quote I think Margaret Atwood said in an interview or something after writing The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Was that all of the things that happen in the book are based on real life things that have happened in history.
Absolutely.
And none of it is like speculative. It's all like things that have actually happened.
Done. Yeah. There are a lot of famous incidents of mass sterilizations of populations.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that the Academy was planning to do this?
I don't know.
I feel like the way Genevieve presents it is like the Academy wishes they could get away with doing this.
Yeah, rather than
didn't think they could, and so they weren't going to.
Yeah.
I wonder if they would have gotten around to it eventually or not.
Probably when they are ready to replace the population. When they don't need the population anymore, you can just let them not reproduce and die out, and you live as your, immortal elite ruling over your undead hordes and created monsters,
it occurs to me, we had a whole argument for a few episodes earlier about this leash drug and whether it applied to the population or just the experiments. And then
we find out
very explicitly it wasn't, but it is now.
Yeah. That's true. I had that same thought. I was like, oh, I guess now we know.
Not exactly the way I wanted to have that confirmed, but anyway, I think that's all I had for plot.
Yeah, I think we've generally talked about the overall. I mean, I guess we could talk a little bit about maybe it's more under characters, but it feels like we started out this arc taught with the lambs feeling not very cohesive, and we end it with that entirely unresolved and probably worse. But I also get the feeling that each of them is kind of trying to reach out to the others without necessarily much success.
I did feel that it got a lot better than it started out. Like, it was really bad when they got to Kensford. And I feel like they mostly got back on track with each other, and probably there's still cracks.
See, I got a very different view of that from the end.
Just from that last section.
Exactly, when they're all going off to their own places, and Sai kind of, it feels like he doesn't feel he can trust Gordon much. He wants to, and then there's Mary who is dealing with her abandonment issues here.
What I think it might be is all along it's been the lambs being fractured, but Gordon and Sai working together to bring them back. And then here at the end, the others are back, but Gordon and Sai are no longer seeing eye to eye.
Yeah.
Which I think might be a big part of it.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Well, especially since, they're all lambs, but Gordon, Sai, and Jamie are really the core group.
Yeah.
They're the originals.
Were they the originals? I thought Helen was one of the originals. I don't remember.
No, and Sai wasn't really an original, but...
Yeah, Sai wasn't one of the originals either. But yeah.
But the originals are dead, and, once I think they all... Gordon, Sai, and Jamie were introduced to each other at around the same time. But, it just... The fact that Sai gives Mary a hug and she stops confused was really cute. And... Well, yeah, we'll get to the rest of the character things later on.
Let's move on to world building then, shall we?
Sure.
I didn't really have much of world building to talk about, but you pulled out a few things, so...
Just a couple tiny things. Sai specifically notes that it is Academy-crafted leather on the chairs that the headmaster's people is sitting in that office, how does one tell it's Academy crafted? Is it just the assumption that, like...
I would assume that there is no non-Academy crafted leather in this one.
But then I would assume you wouldn't need to specify.
Maybe it's just higher quality.
Maybe.
Like
No
cow leather
flaws.
is like made from cows. It could be
Imperfect.
Whereas this is like made in like massive sheets of immaculate leather.
Sure. I just wanted to point that out.
No, that was great. We've seen that before, like, with the Academy crafted wool and
the meat trees.
The meat trees, yeah. They just make everything. They've got like all their factories. They're like, this is the wool factory. It's just a plant that grows wool on it. Here's the It's not even factories, it's orchards.
Probably.
The leather orchard.
Or like slaughterhouses, barns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other thing I want to note out is just it's fun to like be reminded that this is kind of parallel to our history. This is like whatever the I don't remember what years we had determined, but late 18th century, late 19th century, early 20th. And there's only 5 phones in town and 20 possibly in Radom. It's like, oh yeah, phones are a thing that only the rich people would have, especially in a world where everything is grown and it's not like electric in the same way as ours is.
Yeah. I'm just looked up quickly, and according to this Wikipedia article on the history of the telephone in the United States, it was in the 1920s that the phone became widely popular in the general population.
I think I remember us saying we were in the 20s.
It definitely is in the 20s, though I think we noted that it seems to be a few decades earlier in vibe than real life was.
Actuality, yeah.
But like technology could be anywhere, but this seems pretty solid. I am, of course, imagining that phones in this universe consist of like a little creature like jabbering in your ear, and then
oh no, I assume this is like legit telephone. There are, if you want to, you can whisper your message to like a bird with 18 wings that'll fly over to your friend's house and recite your message.
Well, they did say that birds was a possible option.
Yeah. But I think the fact that it's specifically a telephone, I think to me is a deliberate choice to make it like clear this is what it is.
I do think that it's kind of funny to imagine, even though it totally is not like this. It's just like everything is being like the plants and meat and whatever, and then like this pristine bit of metal and cables right in the middle of it.
Yep. Yeah. No, I'm. That is kind of how I picture it, to be honest.
Like I'm sure the phone is just as at home with the other technology there, but it's more funny thinking of it that way. For locations, you pulled out that quote that we mentioned where some of the towns are...
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that we just got towns and we're connected by railroad.
And we got names of towns.
Yep.
Pinesome, Evensroy, Radom, and Barracksville being the ones that are riding on fire, etc.
Yep, Barracksville is not real, according to a quick Google.
I'd be surprised if any of them were real.
Me too, but I'm just curious to see if... Nope, none of them.
I have to say, this is very convincing, time-appropriate name of town.
Yeah, yep. Apparently Pinesam is Norwegian for painful.
Okay, that's appropriate.
Yep. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. I just wanted to point out that we got names.
We'll put a pin in them for later.
If they ever come up again. Yeah. We don't really get new monsters here aside for...
Hey, you can't just barge into that. We need to play our music.
Sorry.
Honestly.
Played. Music
Boys
played.
and girls of every age, wouldn't you like to see something strange?
Thank you to Danny Elfman and Megafire.
Yep. Anyway, so we see... we don't really see any new monsters, but we get more and more detail on what Project Caterpillar is and what it's doing.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting that there is an illustration of this among the header images.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. I'll send it to you and I'll put it in the show notes.
I was just going to wildly click fast forward until trying to find it. Oh, yeah, so it is. That is not how I pictured the brains that were segmented.
Sure. Do we want to read the relevant
Sure, go for
paragraph?
it.
Let me find it. Switches were flicked. Lights went on around the room. Large glass containers were lit up, with gray-pink blobs within. Brains. The largest as big around as I was tall. Each one was connected to the next. A chain. A caterpillar, in a way. Segmented, promising a future transformation. Just what that would be remained to be seen. But all I knew was that there wouldn't be a caterpillar anymore. Jamie made his way up a slight dais to the throne. The chair had machinery worked into it, metal blades that weren't sharp, with bundles of wires running from them into the first glass tank. I looked away as they started plugging the individual blades into the slots and gaps in Jamie's modified extended spine, along his arms and beneath his hairline. He was giving them all the information he had gathered, storing it in the tanks. They would, fingers crossed, give it back, helping him to organize, consolidate, and structure it. One day, as Frey had said, they wouldn't be able to give it back.
So there's two takeaways from that for me. The first is that an expiration date for Jamie doesn't necessarily mean the end of Jamie. It means the end potentially of this body, this version. But if he's uploading everything he's learned to the brains, what's to say he's not uploading his mind, his self, his being to the brains also to be re-downloaded into a future clone body?
Okay. So you think that they could just manufacture extra Jamies?
Maybe. I mean, probably not, but maybe. Why not? The other thing, well, I guess I have two more. There were three things. The other thing I wanted to note, I've lost track of it in my brain, is Project Caterpillar as a whole Jamie? Is Jamie just the little boy walking around? Or is Jamie also the agglomeration of brains that Jamie plugs into?
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Like, is the body just a mobile unit that brings information back to, like, the greater consciousness of Jamie?
I like that a lot. I hadn't thought of that, but I do like that. So, like, the whole setup in there is Jamie, and
Yeah.
the kid that we think of as Jamie is just like his
body that, like, operates on its own is Jamie in its own right, or in his own right, but also is part of the greater whole. And also, my third thought, and I think it's the one that we're really supposed to be taking away here, what is the metamorphosis of this caterpillar?
That is also a good question. Because, like, in terms of its caterpillarness, just seems to be based on its, like, one thing connected to the next, connected to the next shape of it.
Yeah.
And he mentioned the way he describes its future transformation seems to be adding more brains to it.
I don't know. The way he said it is that it wouldn't be a caterpillar anymore, which to me implies something beyond that.
But he doesn't say what else it would be aside from.
That's what I'm wondering what that will be. I mean, there's a part of me that can see it.
Maybe the transformation is from, like, Jamie the kid sitting in the chair to Jamie the system.
I mean, I can even see it, like, as since he's uploading its testing data, analysis, and learning and stuff, I can see this being eventually designed to be the brain of the academy. Like, basically the biotech version of digitizing all your paper records.
Yep.
Is uploading them into glass brains that used to be a little boy.
It's very, what's the word? It's like the image of it is
visceral.
Yeah. And also vivid. It's like, he paints this picture for it, and he literally had the illustrator paint a picture of it. But it's like, it's such an image.
Right? I mean, there's an element of it that more than just superficially reminds me of the Matrix. Like, the segments and plugs throughout the body, I wonder if Wildbow's deliberately evoking that imagery.
Could be.
All right, do you want to move on to the characters here?
Yeah. I mentioned before we started recording that I felt like there wasn't, like, a lot of what happened in this chapter is character work, but it doesn't really tell us more than we already knew. Like, we don't learn more about Sai as a character than we already knew for most of this. We don't learn more about Warren or Frey, even though, like, you know, the whole back and forth between Sylvester and Frey is kind of core to this. The only really big character moment, aside from that reveal of the caterpillar for Jamie at the end, is Gordon.
Yeah.
When he told Sai before that he was going to,
or he would have accepted,
Frey's offer to leave the academy and join with her if she had presented it. But then when she presents it, he says, "No, I don't think I want that anymore."
Well, and Sai reads it as Gordon is kind of lying about why he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? And like, I feel like we know that Gordon can be ruthless in the pursuit of his goals. He doesn't really care about that kind of thing so much. And I think that's kind of one of the things here is that, I'm trying to articulate this thought. I'm sorry. I think, yeah, he feels that she isn't quite ready yet, and he'd rather not leave the lambs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would have joined her, I think, without a problem if one or two of the other lambs had said yes.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because what he said was that he didn't think he would trust her after the stunt that she just pulled, which we agreed that we no longer think of her as a good guy after that.
But I don't know that Gordon wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. And that's specifically what Sai pulls out as the lies.
Yeah.
And it's not his not wanting it anymore, but his rationale for it.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, it shows that he doesn't really trust Gordon anymore
either.
After that either.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. I don't know where this is going. We were talking at the beginning about how, like, this conclusion is only a conclusion in a way, and I think this is one of the main threads that is still very much up in the air. So I mean, we have a lot of instances of Sai and Gordon working together and not quite working right together. Or not really, like, grokking with each other. They don't get each other well, and it working despite that.
Yep.
I think there's a point, I don't remember which chapter it's in, but it was in this arc where Gordon says, "I like you, Sai. I like you a lot. I just don't get you, and I don't trust you," or something like that.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I think that is also where Sai is sitting towards Gordon at the end of this. Is that he likes Gordon, but he doesn't know or trust Gordon right now.
I'm looking at the section where it talks about that, and it actually does spell out what we were talking about earlier about the cohesion of the team.
Okay, go for it.
It says, Gordon could have stood unapproached. He could have said something, made excuses, shared his thoughts, and I might have forgiven him. So ironic, considering he'd been the one to spout words about the cohesion of the team. The rest of us were better now. We'd reaffirmed our bonds in standing against Frey. Any fractures were better, except for Gordon.
You're right, yeah.
And yeah, I feel like what Gordon said to Frey wasn't really any...
Well, it
wasn't, like, problematic. Like, maybe he was lying to her about his reasons, but, like...
No, but I think the thing that Sai has grasped on or fixated on, and I don't know how true it is, whether it's Sai's paranoia or if he actually happened, but he says Gordon and Frey communicated wordlessly. They understood each other. There was a conversation that happened through looks and glances and expressions that Sai was not a party to.
You think that's Sai being jealous?
I don't know. I think so, to a degree, because he expected and wanted to have that connection with Frey, and I think we see over and over that him and Frey are operating on different wavelengths, despite like neither was what the other was expecting, right?
Mhm.
In
And he
that,
does also say that Sai fully expects that Gordon will go if it comes up again.
yeah. So I'm struggling to put my faith in Sai's interpretation of any of the Frey Gordon Sai
Sure.
interactions.
Hmm. Yeah. I wonder if this will. I don't know. I was going to say, I wonder if this rift with Gordon will prove problematic, but
I mean,
it
what else
probably
is it
will.
happening?
Yeah, it is already. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did get some rationales from the others on why they didn't want to leave and go with
Yeah.
Frey. They were all pretty
Straightforward, I thought.
straightforward. Lillian wants to learn and she can learn more from the academy. Jamie.
Mary just doesn't like Frey.
I loved that.
Oh, that was
so
great.
Much. I'm going to find that quote and I'm going to read it because that was so good. Mary? Frey asked. No, you disgust me. I don't like you. I don't like standing here, being in your company. I can't imagine staying with you for a while, on purpose. Unless it's to take you somewhere where they can put you down, Mary said. Oh my. I'm a lamb, Mary said.
Yeah. And I liked Jamie's also, which was, if any of us leave, they're going to do what they did to us to another kid. With
Mhm.
I can't allow that to happen again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jamie always being the altruistic one.
Is interesting because there's this archetype of the stereotype in kids TVs or whatever of the one who has all the information not being empathic at all.
Mhm.
And we're definitely not there with Jamie.
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
I just dropped my Nanaimo bar wrapper
Oh no.
on the floor. No, just the wrapper. The Nanaimo has been eaten a long time ago. But I just worry that it'll attract ants. I'll have to pick it up.
It might
Anyway.
attract cats.
I don't know. She does not seem to be attracted by it. I've never seen her sleep there before, but
Oh, hi.
there she is.
I was watching a TV show today, and there's a character who just leaves her food all over the place.
Huh?
And her boyfriend was complaining about it, and I turned to my wife and I'm like, you know what would fix this issue? They get a cat.
Yeah.
They'll never leave food out ever again.
Yeah. I remember very early on when Billy was here, or not here, when I first got her when she was very young. I had I'd gotten a nice slice of some kind of creamy cheese, and I left it up on the counter. And I came back. I went to the bathroom. Not long in the bathroom. I came back. This nice empty rind. Yep.
Yep. You have no manners at all.
None at all. Okay, so
you had some interesting points about the headmaster here.
Yeah, let me read the quote again here.
Okay.
When seemingly perpetual youth became too ordinary among the elderly of the elite, a calculated sort of aging had taken over. Unfortunately, the white of his hair had come in more like skunk stripes than salt and peppering. His suit jacket fit too closely at the waist, and his slacks were too narrow. And in my mind, I feel like Sai doesn't say this, but everything we know about this school indicates a need and drive for perfection.
Yes.
And I cannot imagine that the headmaster could be schlubby incompetent there. So this has to be an affectation.
Okay.
I don't know that I get why he'd be doing this because, so that he's underestimated by his peers, but
I sort of imagined that it was just the style in Kensford is different than it is in Radum, and Sai is...
maybe, but I don't know. Just the way that Sai points it out, it's like this guy got work done badly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everyone who has got work done has it done badly that we've seen, haven't we?
No, I don't think so. We see people when it's done badly, it's either been a sign of deliberate rejection of norms or not having the wealth to do it well,
That's fair.
or being powerful enough that they're doing it themselves, I think, or
Okay.
don't feel a need to.
I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
we've had this discussion before, too.
I think so too, but I just, to me, this doesn't fit the aesthetic that we have grown to expect over this arc for this school.
Sure.
Though, I mean, I'm not sure whether this guy is Lady Claire's uncle or father. They refer to him as both in this segment.
Do they? Oh.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if it's just Sai, like, not caring to be precise.
It could very well be. He certainly doesn't care to be precise.
Yeah. But I just, maybe I missed something, but I reread it a couple times because I was like, I don't understand his relationship to her.
All right, let me see if I can find what it says.
Well, just at some point, Sai says, and you didn't know that, are you saying that you weren't aware that Genevieve was tutoring your daughter, using her as an accomplice in her plan? I wasn't aware, the headmaster lied. And then later on, oops, if I could type properly, that would help. It was politics. I'd gotten through to Lady Claire by raising the topic, and Lady Claire was this man's niece.
Aha.
So I don't know. I don't understand the relationship there.
I think she was his niece.
We've heard uncle before. I just don't know why.
I think Sai just accidentally said daughter instead of niece, and
Okay, maybe
he didn't
maybe.
correct him. Oh well.
Okay, it's possible. I did not.
But yeah, Sai doesn't know. Sai doesn't remember because it doesn't really matter.
I mean, Sai doesn't.
It doesn't matter to him, and it honestly doesn't matter to the story either.
No, but it feels odd of Sai to not be on top of the details, I think. But I guess it is the memory thing.
Mm-hmm.
I did like something that was done with the text in that we never get a name for the headmaster.
Yes.
Until afterwards in the text, when Jamie's like, yes, you knew this information. And Sai's like, did I?
Yeah. Well, like the relationship of daughter or niece, it's his name
it's
doesn't
like
matter.
He learned
either.
it
but
and
we
filed
didn't
it
know
as
his name
unimportant.
At all.
Yeah. He filed it as unimportant and forgot it instantly.
So his name is Edmund Foss, and I will not remember that.
I looked it up. Edmund Foss. There is a George Edmund Foss who was a state representative for somewhere in Illinois, I think.
Okay.
Between 1914 and 1919. Brother to a much more important Foss who was governor of Massachusetts, I think, for a period.
Okay.
But
so are we saying that Kensford is in Illinois?
Not a historical. What?
Are we saying that Kensford is in Illinois?
Maybe. I was just saying I'm definitely not this guy, but it's the only Edmund Foss I could find.
Okay.
With my not very in-depth research.
Well, I mean, he seems like the sort of character that might not come up again.
Oh, I'm certain it won't.
But if it does, we won't recognize him.
Yep. Despite his skunkish hair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And despite the fact that we've had this whole conversation about it that ought to cement it in our memory, nope. Even our memories aren't. We're no Sai, but our memories are not that good either. Not for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Not for this guy. He's like the most forgettable person in this world.
Oh, for sure.
Nobody even remembers him.
Not at all. Well, I mean, I think also there's kind of the fact that he's important, he has connections, he's, all of that, but he's also running a school and not actually in the centers of power.
Mm-hmm.
So, make of that what you will.
Yeah.
Anything else about other characters here? Do you want to talk? We talked a little bit about Hale at the very beginning. I don't know if there's anything else to say, considering he just shows up for a sec.
Yeah, like I said, with most of the other characters, I don't think we see anything more of him that we didn't already know.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to skip over the discussion question because even though we got one incredibly delightful answer from 40i2 for our discussion question, we're going to give people a chance to submit other answers. Do you remember what the question was?
I absolutely do not.
All right, let me pull it up. It was our secret discussion question. What is it about characters like Wendy that makes them so great? And who are your favorite examples of such characters?
Sounds good. Cool. So, What have you been reading, Dante?
I wanted to start out for our book recommendations with some shout-outs because there are, I mean, it's been a while since we've done a recording, so these are not new, but there are some new podcasts in our social
World?
circles. The fellows at Doof Media, Ruben and Elliot, have started one called Belting at Windmills, reading through The Expanse.
You might remember them as the hosts of Pale Reflections and Deep Impact.
Yes. Have you been reading along with them for that?
Not yet. I received I bought a copy of the first book, which is Leviathan Wakes, and read the prologue, but I'm reading something else and I want to finish that before I start this.
Sure.
Because having two books on the go, having one book on the go is hard enough with a toddler.
Fair.
Having two, I'll lose track.
Fair. I've been following along with it. It's really great. They're great. They're great in general. They'd be great whatever they're covering. But The Expanse is really cool. It's a good story.
I watched the first season or something with my son as like an infant on my chest, just asleep.
Okay.
So a lot of it is kind of a blur. It's faded, but I'm very much looking forward. I remember really liking the sort of juxtaposition of real, like, hard sci-fi with like whatever weird alien thing is happening that is clearly not operating by the same rules of physics that like everything else is connected with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really liked seeing how, or reading about it, just like it's taking, our space travel and moving it forward a couple hundred years, rather than like Star Trek, where people are walking around in a spaceship without spacesuits and like artificial gravity and all that. There, it's like you have to spin things to have gravity, or you have to have airlocks, and things keep moving forever. And you if you're in a space combat, you're shooting at something, millions of miles ahead of where it is, because by the time it sees you, it'll be there. And it's interesting. I like that.
It is interesting. Yeah, it's very cool. Another podcast that is relatively new is Inchworm, which is yet another Wildbow, not Wildbow, yes, Wildbow, but yet another worm read-through podcast.
Who's doing that one?
Their names are Ted and Jenny. They've done a podcast about Animorphs previously.
Okay.
But yeah, they're really fun. It's another of the one person has and one person hasn't read it before.
Okay.
And they're very entertaining to listen to. Definitely check it out. They also have a fun Discord community. I've made the very perhaps foolish decision to reread Worm along with it.
Fun.
So this will be my third read through of that, and first since reading Ward. And I'm also going to catch up on all the other Worm podcasts that I haven't listened to yet. So that's going to be a long and
fruitful
project. Yeah. So what have you been reading besides?
I am currently reading the last. This is the book I need to finish before I get onto Leviathan Wakes. But it's The Last Kabbalist of Lisbon.
Okay.
And it is, well, the conceit of it. It's a Portuguese book originally. I think from the 70s or 80s, but I could be wrong. And the conceit is that these are manuscripts written by this part of the story. He's a young man who is living in Lisbon in the 1500s, while like the Inquisition rages and everybody is blaming Jews for the plague and all that. And his uncle they are part of the community of new Christians, so Jews who are forcefully converted to Christianity, who are still practicing Judaism in secret. And the last Kabbalist is his uncle, who is, a wise man, a teacher, and he gets murdered during one of these riots. And the conceit of the book is that these are the narrator's manuscripts that he wrote at the time and hidden away in a house. And like this person who's writing the book found these manuscripts and is presenting them now.
Interesting.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it so
So
far.
is it fiction or is it like actual?
It's fiction.
Okay.
But historical fiction, murder mystery. If you've ever read Name of the Rose,
It's on my to-read list.
Umberto Eco, murder mystery set in a medieval monastery.
Okay.
Which was pretty interesting. I read it a long time ago, but there's elements of it that remind me of that, though it's a bit more gruesome than that book was, just
Okay.
from what I remember. I mean, Umberto Eco could be a lot more gruesome than I actually remember it being, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and it's not a section of history that I know more than like the very abstract elements of it, and I'm not super familiar with like the concepts of Kabbalah and Kabbalism.
Yeah, me either.
But it's really interesting to read. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm learning quite a bit actually.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. What about you?
Aside from the ones that I've mentioned, which are The Expanse and then rereading Worm,
Yeah.
and of course Twig, I recently read.
Oh yeah, we're reading that. That's
Pardon?
true.
Yeah. But I started a book that was recommended in the Doof Media Discord and also on the Parahuman subreddit, called Ant Tigress by Emily Yuxuan Qin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is essentially the most Otherverse novel not by Wildbow that I've heard of.
Okay.
It is. Let me see if I can find an actual back of the book description.
Okay, it sounds fun. I should read that.
Tam hasn't eaten anyone in years. She is now Mama's soft-spoken vegan daughter. Everything dangerous about her is cut out. But when Tam's estranged Aunt Tigress is found murdered and skinned, Tam inherits an undead fox in a shoebox and an ensemble of old enemies.
Okay.
So, like, it's got, the Council of Practitioners in a city in Canada. It's got the, murder mystery of a creature with furs apparently being important somehow. It's got, lawyers and demons and anything from the
Families.
Otherverse that you like.
It has families.
Yeah, it is, and plus it's really good. So
okay, yeah, I'll look it up. I like the concept of it. It sounds fun. So and if it is,
do recommend for Otherverse fans.
Yeah, I will definitely read that. All right, anything else you're consuming these days?
Not really anything worth bringing up. I could do a list, but I don't think that would be that interesting.
Yeah.
Better to end on a high note because Ant Tigress was really
good.
A standout on what I've read recently.
Sure. All right. So thank you everybody for listening. I apologize for the delay between recording. It is entirely my fault. We hope you'll continue along with us on a trip into Twig, which you can read along with us at twigserial.wordpress.com. And if you do, or even if you don't, please go to Wildbow's Patreon at www.patreon.com/Wildbow and support him and read Seek. It's how he can produce all these great stories and settings. Please leave your answers to our discussion in our Reddit thread or our Discord thread in the Doof server.
Yeah, you mentioned reading Seek. That was not on my list of things I've been reading recently, and it really should be, so thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, well, I have not been reading Seek, and I need to read Seek. I want to read Seek. It's just finding the time.
Without an audiobook of it, it tends to fall down the list for me, but I will catch up.
Same.
Anyway, you can reach us at totwigpodcast@gmail.com. totwigpodcast on the platform known as Blue Sky, and I need to update this part of the script because it still says Twitter, and we're not there anymore. Our Reddit thread in r/parahumans, and our discussion thread in the Doof Discord. Kind thanks to them, as always, for letting us squat in their server. Next episode, we will be covering the interlude, which I assume is called Enemy. Let me double check.
They have been so far. Do you want to do Enemy and more? Do you want to do Enemy and more, or do you want to just do Enemy?
Let's just do Enemy. Yeah, we've been floating this idea of speeding up a little bit, maybe covering 3 chapters per episode, but I think we'll start that with the next arc. For our next recording, we'll just do the 1 chapter, and then we'll take it from there. Are you ready for our bio fact?
I am.
So at the end of our last episode, we were talking about humans' ability to perceive wetness
Right?
and how our brain does weird things. And we mentioned that the brain does weird things to detect time.
Okay.
And so I decided let's talk about that today.
Sounds good.
Everything I know about this subject comes from an episode of the podcast Let's Learn Everything. One of the hosts, Tom Lum, did his undergrad thesis on this subject and presented it in this podcast. So I want you to put your hands out in front of you and then look between them and then clap them together. Did you hear the clap at the same time that you saw your hands clap together?
Of course.
That is magic.
Is a lie.
First of all, as you know, light travels a heck of a lot faster than sound.
Right?
So the light of your hands clapping together reaches your eyes a lot faster than the sound of it reaches your ears.
Mm-hmm.
The way your eyes detect the light is very different from the way your ears process the sound. And the part of your brain that processes the light versus the sound are in completely different parts of the brain. And yet, in the end, you see it all as being perfectly simultaneous.
Right.
So it turns out that your brain has this sort of window where things that happen during that time window will be perceived as simultaneous. And it is about a quarter of a second.
Oh, that's long.
Yeah, it's a lot longer than I would expect too.
Yeah.
So if you see something and the audio is delayed by up to a quarter of a second, your brain will usually be able to stitch it back together and put it simultaneous again. But they did some studies. There was a study that he mentioned in this podcast where they had people playing this very simple video game and they introduced some lag into it that was just longer than a quarter of a second. And they perceived the lag. So some of them in the control group, they like moved the mouse and it worked as expected. These other people, they moved the mouse and a quarter of a second later it did. And they found that after a little while, the brain figured out what the lag was and they no longer perceived that difference.
Fascinating. That's cool.
It gets cooler because when they took them off of the lag, they perceived the mouse moving in the game before they moved the mouse.
Whoa.
Because their brain had synced it up to accommodate for the lag, and it got unsynced, and the brain edited it in with time flipped.
That's really cool. I'm curious if there's a way to do that, to test that myself.
I know, right?
Like, it'd be cool to feel like I have precognition, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, yeah, that essentially shows like it's not just like a, blurring the lines of what it is. It's actually your brain taking, like we said with the detection of wetness, it's literally taking different inputs and essentially
forcing it into one thing.
Forcing it into, like, editing it together in post to make it make sense.
That's cool.
That is, like, the most fascinating thing ever. So that is your biofact for today.
That's a fun biofact. I like it.
And if you're interested in more, I guess we'll put a link to that I should make a list of things that we're putting in the description here. Where's my marker?
All right. Well, Dante is looking for a marker.
Picture of Jamie.
Temporal perception.
Temporal perception.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And we appreciate you being here.
Thanks again. You have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time.
Night.
I've got a kitten eating my headphone cable. Hey, off you go. Go beat up your brother.